what? Let's move on to the next game. Let's move on to something more adult oriented, more violent, more gory. Let's talk about Evil Within
Something more,
2.
all right, yeah, something more akin to the festivities, right?
Yeah, something more akin to Halloween. Well, if you think about it, these are orcs. I mean, they look a little Halloweenish, I guess, monsters. I guess you can look at it that way. But yes, a
Yeah.
little more Halloweenish than your side. Now, Evil Within 2. Now, tell me, how do you like this game so far? And you said it surprised you. Like first of all, let's say this. What was your first reaction of the game?
Okay. First of all, just to be clear,
Uh huh.
I did like the first game,
Yeah,
but I
me too.
wasn't I wasn't crazy about it.
Hmm.
I probably liked it, and probably I'm going to be making this comparison with other games because
Sure.
that's how I feel
Yeah.
about the whole franchise, and because I feel this is where Shinji Mikami would have taken Resident Evil if he had stayed at Capcom
Yes. Okay.
and he wasn't forced to make action games.
Uh huh.
So yeah. First, the first game I liked it better than Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6,
Ooh, agreed.
but
Agreed.
uh, but I don't think it's a masterpiece like Resident Evil 4 or 2.
No, no, not at all. Doesn't
Uh,
raise the bar in that way. You're right.
yeah, but it was an alright game. It was an okay game. It was scary in some part. More than scary, it was freaky.
It was
Because
more like in the human psyche. It was like how do you say it? Like if you're breaking down from a mental something mental. You know what I'm saying? Like psychosis, weird.
exactly, there's an interesting thing about the whole mythos of the evil within,
Sure.
the fact that the world is shaped by the mind of psychopaths and narcissists and people with broken psyches or damaged psyches.
Yep.
That's interesting, but at the same time, it's one of the things that I don't like. But I get into that in a moment.
Yeah. Sure.
Um, so the first game I liked it. I liked it. It plays well. That's the main thing about the game. The game that made me like it is the fact that it plays well.
Hmm.
It plays like Resident Evil 4. So if you are into those type of games like me,
Yeah.
uh, you enjoy you would enjoy it, right?
Of course. Yeah. Definitely.
Um, but but about part two? First of all, I liked it more than part one so
Yeah.
far.
I yeah.
I liked it. I liked it more than part one because it is more progressive and it does more with the genre that part one did. What part
Hmm.
one played it safe. The
Yes.
only thing what I think they tried to experiment was a little bit on the story and a little bit on the characters and also on the aesthetics and the visual identity of the game because of the whole bars and the heavy um, psychiatric type of aesthetics and all that.
Hmm.
That's where they experimented more than this game. This game actually experiments a lot with the genre and actually with mechanics and stuff. Something that I wasn't prepared because um, I was completely unprepared was the how the game actually plays in the world. Like it is not like the first game where you are into levels and you just play levels.
Right.
It is more like you are you are put into like mini open worlds,
Hmm.
and there's a bunch of activities that you get to perform, or you gotta complete, or you can complete. You don't have to. You can just straight up go for the story and just uh, complete the main objectives.
Hmm.
But there's a bunch of side activities and a lot of exploration. Um, it reminds me a little bit of the newer Silent Hill games.
Yes. Yes.
It is a little bit like what they try to do with the newer Silent Hill games, although those games suck for other
I
reasons.
know.
Yeah, because they don't understand what Silent Hill is.
Nope.
Um, and the very first impression is the game is weird. To me it feels like an alternate reality game. It sounds like the type of it is like the game. Um, it is how Resident Evil will continue or would be if they focus more on the horror instead of the action.
Right.
and it feels more like what Silent Hill would be if they focus a little bit more on the action. So it's pretty much the point in the middle of those games,
Yeah.
those two games, because it plays a lot. It plays a lot with the with psychological stuff. It's pretty blatant. In fact, it's the whole mythos about psychology and stuff, and broken minds and stuff.
Yeah.
So it plays with the psychological horrors a little bit on the Silent Hill side, although it is not supernatural. It's more about like weird science and science fiction.
Yeah, that's true.
And but on the other side, like the monsters and stuff, they are more in the type of on the vein of Resident Evil, right?
Yeah, the more
Um,
Resident Evil, and also like this game, you gotta look at it like if it was the Matrix, but ran by a demented mind. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like,
exactly.
yeah, it's not like you said. It's not about spirits, this and that. It's about an evil system in the like in the Matrix, like a haunted Matrix. That's what you're in right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
And okay, there is one thing about that. There is a thing that I don't like, and that's in the whole about with the evil within,
Uh-huh.
the fact that you already know that the world is not real. They have to create some weird stakes in order for the the story to feel to have some sense of urgency.
Uh-huh.
Like the fact that if you don't find the girl, you get stuck into the STEM
This
world,
yeah, this weird
and then
nightmare
your
stem
real
world. Hmm.
yeah, and if you die on the STEM world, your real body dies and stuff.
Of course,
Eh,
yeah.
but the thing is, at the end, you know that it's not a real world.
Right,
It's not a
right.
real world. It's a made up world. It's like you mentioned, like the
Yeah,
Matrix.
yeah, exactly.
So to me, that takes a little bit on the horror. That takes a little bit of the horror or the scariness of the game, because if you are like in Silent Hill, if you are in a place where you know it's real but you don't know what's happening or why freaky things happen, I think that's way more scarier. That's way scarier than just being on this made up world.
No,
I mean,
you
it is
good point.
fascinating.
Hmm.
It is fascinating that they explore how a world created by a broken mind would be like.
Hmm.
It kind of like try to interpret a little bit of how a broken mind thinks. Um, it is fascinating, but the thing is, it doesn't do a good job. It doesn't do that. It doesn't put it on the same field as for example. Hellblade. Hellblade was a way much better game
Oh, jeez.
at saying the same story because um, without spoiling or the spoilers on Hellblade, an older game. In fact, I'm preparing a video about that I haven't had the time to complete.
Okay.
But on Hellblade, at the end you don't know if everything was real or not, or everything happened on Senua's head.
Yeah,
And
dude,
here,
that's crazy.
exactly, on the Evil Within and part one and part two, you know that nothing is real. Everything happens on somebody else's mind. So
Exactly.
that's to me that takes away from the horror because it's just like you're having a nightmare and you can just wake up, right? So they have to create like artificial stakes to give some pressure to the game and some pressure to the story and have the story moving forward. I would have liked if it was more like Silent Hillish, like just this freaky place, and you have to find your girl, or even science fiction, but just don't explain and don't go too much into what the state machine is. Just uh, just say, okay, there's this world that is created by a psychopath's mind. How you don't know? There is no way to know. You just need to go and save your little girl, right?
Yeah.
I would have liked that better. Just keep things on the dark. I think that increases the horror, or that increases the terror, or the mysteriousness of the whole story. But besides that, the game is really good. It's actually it is actually uh, better than I expected,
Yeah.
especially because the first 2 hours were very left me with a very very poor impression because the enemies are very difficult to fight and to beat, and you can get stuck in places really easy. In fact, I got stuck on the prologue of the game, where you have to sneak into the first safe room
Oh,
before the actual game
jeez.
starts.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I went past that part, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I know I'm not the first one. I'm not the only one. Everybody that I've seen playing that, even you and your stream, and I think somebody else that I watched
Right.
uh, on Twitch had the same problem that part. And the thing is, uh, especially if you're playing on Nightmare and Nightmare difficulty, it is very frustrating. It is very frustrating, and I was about to give up, to be honest, because I'm like, dude, I can't play the game like this. And I personally, I know if I play on normal difficulty, first of all, I would block myself away from trophies, so I had to play the game again to get the Nightmare difficulty trophy, and I wouldn't enjoy the game the same because I know playing normal difficulty makes the game way easier. In fact, they make it very obvious when you're picking up your difficulty. They tell you that how much ammo you will get and how much easier the fights will be. So at the very beginning, it left me with a very poor impression. I got very frustrated on the very first part
Yeah.
because it's very stealth focused. It's very stealth focused, and the stealth is actually quite simple. It's not as complex as, for example, Metal Gear, which is one of the few games that we all know as stealth works on.
Oh, definitely.
Metal is not as complex as Metal Gear, and they expect you to do a lot of stealth. So at the very beginning, it left a very poor impression. But after I played a little bit and I was able to upgrade some abilities and get some gear and stuff, and the combat opened up a little bit more, and I started to understand the enemies better. It became fun. It became way more fun, and now I'm enjoying the game way more. And now that I know how to, and I have more abilities to sneak and also to defend myself.
Right.
I'm having way more fun. Way more fun. It's still there's a few parts where the game it commits one of the gameplay tropes of old school survival horror games.
Uh-huh.
It's like you pile up on ammunition and stuff, on provisions, because you know that you will need them you will need them later on, and then they throw an enemy or throw an encounter at you that you cannot avoid and you have to fight, and you waste everything.
Yeah, that's like
Especially
part one. Part one did a lot of that, dude. I remember that.
Exactly, and that's what they do on Resident Evil 2. That's the same thing. I can tell that's a Shinji Mikami thing.
Yes.
And even though
Yes.
Shinji Mikami wasn't actively involved on making the game like the first one or the Resident Evil games, or the Resident Evil games, still you can tell that's one of the staples of his game design. Which at the same time, I'm pretty neutral to that because you can replenish your ammunitions and stuff, your provisions, after you're done really easy. Because they are very generous at giving you crafted materials and stuff.
True.
So it's not that bad. And I'm pretty neutral because those are like the things that I grew up playing. I grew up playing Resident Evil, so it feels pretty familiar. And I'm pretty sure people who enjoy those games and old school survival horror players will enjoy. Now, as for the freaky factor and the scariness, there are some areas where the game is really creepy. There are some places where the game is really creepy. Yesterday, for example, I'm not going to spoil, but I was on a section that was just 5 minutes of amnesia, kind of. In fact, they changed the perspective and everything.
Really?
And yeah, I won't go further because it's better if you go there
Sure.
without knowing.
Damn, can't
without
wait.
knowing.
I love Amnesia, dude. I beat Amnesia. What's it called? The download. I beat that last week.
Yeah, I saw you playing that actually. I saw
I
you
beat
playing
it.
that.
Yeah.
I know you like those games,
Oh,
but
I love
I
those games.
don't.
Love them, dude.
Yeah.
It's stressful as hell, but I love it. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, the thing is this, and this is my gripe with modern survival horror games,
Uh-huh.
and why I don't appreciate them as much as you. Pretty much those games they become very frustrating because there is no way you can defend. And,
Yes, I know. You're right. You gotta
and-
run. Defense is running. That's your defense, dude. Running. That's it.
Yes, and the games are not dynamic enough to actually or give you options to actually go around enemies. For example, the first Outlast, I never finished it because I got stuck with a doctor. I got into a very unwinnable situation,
Oh, I love that
and
game.
since there was no point in me going and me going back and just remake the game so I could be on a better position, I really got upset. And after that, I play a few more games. The only game that I kind of like of those on that vein is Soma, because the story is really
Oh,
good.
it is. Yeah, you're right.
But
Someone was a good one. You're right.
exactly, but I'm not fan. I don't like the modern survival horror games. I don't like Amnesia and those games.
Hmm.
Uh, but the thing is, the way they did it here, or at least as I've seen it here on the Evil Within, they used just a little bit of it, like just a little, like a slice section of that type of gameplay. It's just literally just 5 minutes, and that's good enough because it makes you feel stressed and powerless and
Yes.
defenseless, and
Yes.
it puts you in a very vulnerable situation. But that's not the main core of the of the whole experience. And and another thing is the fact that you're playing as the same guy as as in the first game, and he's already been through that, so he already knows what's going on. He's already beat those type of creatures and stuff, so you would expect him to be more capable. It's like, for example, Resident Evil 4, you have Leon Kennedy, and he wouldn't know what to do, right?
Oh yeah.
So so they kept it consistent a little bit, not on dialogue and actions, yes, not on dialogue,
Hmm.
because he says, I don't know how many times he says, "What the
What the
hell?"
hell?
Like, "What the
I
hell?
knew you gonna
What the
say
hell?
that.
That? What the fuck? What the hell?"
The
They're like,
hell?
dude, he's yeah. And it is funny because, dude, like it's like, dude, you have already been through this, so you know weird shit is gonna happen. You should not be surprised. You should be
Exactly.
expecting weird shit to happen. So um, they failed a little bit on the dialogue. They fell short because they used that a lot, and but on the other side, the actual way how Castellanos goes about the game and how he plays and stuff, you notice he knows. Even I even take it I even take it the fact that they went stealth instead of full third-person shooting as in the first game, is because is because Castellanos knows how best deal with these guys, right?
Hmm.
So I kind of feel it that way. So I feel that he is more competent. In fact, that he's even more competent than the security team that are supposed to prevent this type of situations. Um, so so yes, it's really fun. The game is really fun. It is really stressful. Yesterday, I even mentioned if I even told you through Facebook to send me a message before you
Oh
invited me to a
yeah, yeah. I
PlayStation
was like,
party.
what? Yeah, it was like a. What do you mean? Were you like on edge?
Yeah, I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared. It wasn't because because
A scare factor.
scary situation. It's because I was stuck in a specific part, and I was I was on the edge of getting pissed. So
Really?
if I had a jump scare, and normally a notification with a crisp sound will be like a free jump scare, that would have pissed me off. So
Oh, good thing I didn't say anything then, man. Thank you for the heads up.
yeah, I actually thought that beforehand because I said, like, I don't want to be unfair with the game because I'm getting pissed.
Uh huh.
Um,
What
but the
part was
thing
it?
is, and
What part was it? That same part, the amnesia part?
no, it was on
There's
that
a
same
hint.
level what but it was before. Yeah, it was before that. It was before that.
Okay, 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 okay. Because I'm
Yeah,
I'm
it
gonna get
wasn't that
prepared
same
for it.
level.
Okay, I'm gonna get
It
prepared
was
for it.
it wasn't that same level, but it was before. It was before.
Gotcha. Okay.
Um, and and I didn't want to be unfair with the game because of things that happen, right?
Sure.
And again, I'm playing on Nightmare difficulty, so I'm
Me
supposed to
too, dude.
be
It's hard.
playing
Two
it hard.
hits and you die, dude. From even like the low grade zombies. It's very difficult,
Yep.
dude.
Yeah, you have to avoid getting hit. And that takes me to the next point. The controls are pretty hit and miss on some stuff.
Yeah, I could see
Uh,
that.
the the combat when it's shooting, the shooting feels really good. The shooting is probably like better than Resident Evil 5 and 6
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
4.
it's smooth. It's very smooth.
Yeah, and the feedback is really good. It feels really good when you hit things and when you pop big monsters' heads and stuff. The feedback is really good, and also the weapons they feel really punchy and meaty. But the close combat is really shitty. It's really shitty.
Oh God, it's so
Um,
weak. You're right.
and and the thing is, enemies normally are in your face, so you are playing on close. You're fighting close quarters
Close quarters. Yep.
about 75% of the
Because they
time.
run to your face, dude. They like sprint to your face on purpose, dude. So they're all up in your face, and you can't do nothing about it.
Yes, and they grab you and they punch you and they stun you a lot. You
Yeah.
can unlock abilities to, for example, like evade attacks and
Our
kick them
glass
before they
break is
hit
like the
you.
one you got to get. The glass break one is like a must, dude. The glass break where you smash a bottle on their heads if you have any empty bottles.
You can get those abilities, and that makes the combat a little bit more bearable. But the thing is, Castellanos, he after the events of the first game, he became alcoholic, and they definitely translated that perfectly on this game because uh, he he handles like a drunkard. He's really slow and kind of dumb when moving. Although it's supposed to be that way because it's a horror game and they want you to feel like stress and panic when you get into stuff. Although to be honest, he controls better than Leon on Resident Evil 4. I can tell you that. But
But
he
he's a
doesn't
drunkard. That's funny.
yeah, but he doesn't control as well as Leon on Resident Evil 6.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's again on the middle.
Right. I see what you're saying.
Um,
Good to know, though.
Yeah, and I like the monster design. The monsters are really, they're probably the best thing about the
They
game.
look disgusting, dude.
Uh,
Even the low-grade zombies are all like bubbly and all disgusting looking, dude.
and not only that, they actually took a lot of hints from The Last of Us. In fact, this game is closer to The Last of Us. In fact,
Wow, that's a high praise right there, buddy. Because Last of Us, it's a pretty good AAA game there.
exactly. They took a lot of inspiration on The Last of Us. They actually, I feel the Tango GameWorks. They grab like the best games on the best survival horror games, and they just grab things and that's how they make the Evil Within. So it's
Nice,
a
dude.
mission match of a lot of different games, and the enemy design reflects a lot of the type of enemies on The Last of Us,
Hmm.
and it's actually a game that it's actually you want to play with headphones because a lot of the enemies and stuff you want to locate them by sound instead of looking at them.
Yes,
Um,
good point. Yeah, because I had earphones, and you're right. You could hear everything, moanings to slurping sounds. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's already a must when you're playing a horror game to play with headphones just to enhance
Yes.
the experience. But here, yeah, you must because you need a good pair of headphones because even playing with my surround sound and I have a good surround sound, uh, just the getting like locating enemies and stuff. Um, is much better when you have like outside sounds completely completely um, completely isolated
Yes.
and but the thing is and the counterpart is that the sounds they make are freaky, are
Aren't
really
they?
really really
Because
freaky.
I was telling you, I met the new enemy type. You see this woman in a hall, and she's kind of dragging herself, and she has a knife, and she's making like a sound, like it sounds like Japanese horror, you know, like The Ring. It was very
Yeah.
creepy, dude. It got to the point that I was like, you know what? I'm going to bed. I'm not even going to fight this thing. I'm going to bed. I didn't even want to deal with it, dude. That's how badly like creepy it was, dude.
And they are like they remind me a lot of the clickers on The Last of Us. And in fact, the
Ah,
enemies,
también.
the way they work is in order for them to see you, you gotta be very close. In fact, they tell you that they tell you always turn the light on because the enemies don't the enemies are not light sensitive. Their vision is really poor,
Oh, you mean
so
your
they can
lamp?
still.
Oh, I didn't
Uh-huh.
know that. Because I turned it off each time. I did not know that.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to. In fact, you don't need to because the enemies they have really poor vision. You have to be really close to them for them to see you. But the way they locate you is by sound. So if you're standing up or
Uh,
running, they will locate you all the time. And then enemies when they come on packs, an enemy will like shout to alert the other enemies, and also so they locate you using like type like
Using
sonar and stuff.
sound like a siren. I see what you're saying. Wow, I didn't know that,
Exactly.
dude. Yeah, because the thing is, I didn't play much enough to know, but yeah, wow, that's very interesting.
But if you think that enemy was freaky, there is another enemy that is even freakier, sounds even freakier. She's actually pretty scary. And
Really?
it's pretty scary because the enemy is really tough to kill. It's really tough to kill. It looks really freaky and it makes a really freaky sound. Um,
Damn,
uh,
can't wait to get it. Can't wait to make it to him.
yeah, I'm going to upload some raw gameplay. See if I can. Let's see if I can pick a like a chunk of gameplay where I face one of those enemies for everyone who hasn't played the game once yet. But it's probably my favorite slash most hated enemy because it's pretty stressful to face them.
Uh-huh.
But the way they're designed is fucked up. It's really fucked up. They're like they actually did a really good job with that enemy. Um, Now, if I have to, let's say, if I only had to pick one of the two main horror games that came this year, which one would I prefer, Resident Evil 7 or The Evil Within 2? I will still go with Resident Evil 7. I think Resident Evil 7 is a way more polished game,
Uh-huh.
and even though it is not an open world like this, it is Resident Evil 1 again, just in
Hmm.
first person. So
I see what you're
I
saying.
had more fun and to be honest I was more scared I was more scared on Resident Evil 7
Because
than
but they took a more of a Outlast gameplay for seven. I mean, they're kind of two kind of different games because one's not really open world and one. I mean, but the horror, the actual pure horror, I see that you say that Resident Evil 7 is scary.
yeah, and it has more memorable moments. That's the part, and
Mm-hmm.
that takes me to my next point. It has more memorable characters, even though the main character is just Joe Small, and you don't even care about him. I actually forget his name. Found all of them are kind of like forgettable.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and on Resident Evil 7, the characters that make the game make um, are are much memorable. Um, but and I don't want to sound, and I know I've been more negative than positive, so I probably sound like I'm hyping the game, but I'm not.
Right.
Honestly, I'm not.
It's all
To be
good.
honest, it's really good. It's a solid. If I had to grade a number so far with my first uh, 6, 7, like 9 hours,
Mm-hmm.
I would say it is a solid 8. It is much better
Nice.
than the first one. I like the way they're going with this game. I hope they make more games like this. I hope they make a Resident Evil like this. Or if Konami wants to make a Silent Hill game that I'm not gonna buy because of ethical reasons,
Right.
and they go that way too. I hope they make a game like this. They are actually setting a really good precedent.
Cool, man.
Again, it does feel like the natural progression of Resident Evil and Silent Hill. If those games kept going strong, that's probably how they would have ended up. And the game is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's creepy enough to keep you scared at night. It's cool. It looks really good. So people playing with you. It's a game that people that watch you play will have fun too.
Nice, dude.
Um,
You make me want to go
another
play it right now, dude.
you should.
Yeah, I should.
And and just and also as closing notes, and especially in these few weeks where we have seen a lot of controversy with microtransactions
Yeah.
and they want DLC and all that stuff that keeps popping up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Keep in mind that even Bethesda was in the spot because of the paid mods and stuff these past few months.
Right.
Keep in mind that this game is a complete experience. It doesn't have any microtransactions at all. You pop the game straight up to gameplay. You don't see any type of stores, any type of advertisements. The game is complete. It doesn't have any DLC, any microtransactions, any nothing. It's just like single play experience. that could be expanded on with DLC that I would gladly buy. Doesn't feel like an incomplete game. It's a complete game, and it's if people are really pissed about buying games because of microtransactions and shit, I will recommend you supporting this type of games, like AAA polished games that are complete from the get-go.
From the get-go.
Uh,
Good point, man. I'm glad to hear that actually. So with that, I mean, it sounds like a good, complete game. If you give it an 8, especially by your tastes, it's a game worth getting then.
exactly. And I haven't finished. Probably by the end, I give it a higher score.
Oh, it could be.
There is also just one last thing. There's a lot of Easter eggs and a lot of callbacks to Resident Evil 4
Really?
specifically. So even though some people have an icky because Shinji Mikami did not direct the game, it is a Shinji Mikami game. If you play it more, you understand. Probably because the sneaky is not that Shinji Mikami-ish, but if you play the game more, you realize it has a lot of Resident Evil DNA. It
Nice,
has a lot
man.
of callbacks and a lot of Easter eggs from Resident Evil 4 and stuff.
Cool.
There's a specific mode, a specific side game that is totally Resident Evil 4. And when I played it, I was like, I put a big smile on my face. I put a big smile on my face.
Awesome, bro. I'm glad to hear that, dude. And yeah, that's actually pretty much it. We're out of the video, but cool, man. Well, you know what? Thanks for talking about the game. Anything else? Any last words on the game?
That's it. That's it for today.
All right, man.
Uh,
Awesome. Well, yeah, like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And yeah, and also make sure you hit that notification bell so if you see any other of our videos, you know, you get that notification and you'll check it out. So yeah, pretty much it. Thank you, Shinky Day. Thank you once again for your analysis on the game. And for me, yep, live long, game on. Peace.
Peace.